Welcome everyone, this is Todd McPartlin with iMarketing Leader, and this is the Tuesday training. It is March 18th, and today we're going to go over the 4 proven marketing systems that every business must optimize to maximize revenue growth. There, on the right hand side you should see a questions box where you can type in questions throughout the presentation. I'm going to do a little different format on this one. I'm going to go ahead and just do the whole presentation. I'll just keep an eye on the question box to make sure you guys can still hear me and still see the screen. But at the end, since I have a lot of information to go over, I'm going to go ahead and answer all those questions at the end. And any ones that I don't get to, or even all the ones that I do get to, what I'm going to do is on the replay screen, which is out on iMarketingLeader.com, underneath training, I'll put all the questions and answers underneath there. So whether you're watching this on the recording or you're watching it live, you'll see those answers. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I mentioned, we're going to go over these 4 proven marketing techniques. So in the next hour, I'm going to teach you how you can dominate your market and take your income to entirely new levels. So all small businesses are resource constrained. Whether it's time, money, manpower, we're all hustling to do more with less. So that begs the question, how do you manage it all as a small business? You can't go out and hire people for every single position. I've found that it's critical to use leverage, and you need to leverage marketing and technology. So I talk about a lot about this in my book, Automation, Domination, and that's why I named it that way, that you have to learn to automate certain pieces, whether it might even be people and different technologies, in order to achieve these maximum results. Unfortunately, I found that about 95% of small businesses, just about in any industry, are missing at least 2 of these 4 marketing strategies and marketing systems that I'm going to go over today. And like I mentioned, that they're critical for achieving maximum growth. And I bet there are several people that are actually on this webinar, if not majority of us, that are not using all of these, or there's some room for improvement. So why? Because the competitive landscape of business has completely changed. Particularly in the last 10 years, there's been dramatic growth, mostly because of the internet and other technology and software, whether it's actually even in a brick and mortar store. But the whole landscape has changed. If you were in business 10 years ago and you're still doing business like that today, chances are you're probably hurting, because new businesses have popped up and they are leveraging the technology in the internet and other pieces of software in order to achieve some of these growth patterns. But what has also changed is the way that your customers, clients, or even your patients find you and your products or services. It's no longer going to the yellow book, right? We all pop out to Google, whether you're on a mobile device or not. That's where people go to find your products and services. So businesses, particularly small ones, have been very slow to adapt these changes. We're creatures of habit. We've been successful, and successful people usually don't want to change very much. But what I'm going to go ahead and cover are the 3 major pieces I'm going to talk about that are really the drivers of this change, and what you can use to capitalize on those 3 pieces. So 4 strategies, but there's 3 drivers that have changed the way this landscape. And as I'm mentioning here on this slide, small businesses have been slow to adapt. So as a small business, we all need to catch up. So what are the 3 drivers of change? Search, social, and mobile. Now, I'm sure you've all heard these terms before, but you might not necessarily understand how they might be impacting your business positively or negatively. Consumers desire to do business with you, but they're making their decisions based on these 3 categories. So I'm going to go into greater depth into each of these, but so we're going to start here with search. Search engines didn't even exist some 15 years ago, right? It was all about the yellow pages and newspapers, and today very few people even use those. You might still be in one of those because creatures of habit again, or you might still be getting some leads. but the majority of leads, I bet you, are coming from search. And you might not be tracking them, so you might not know, but the younger generation is definitely search first and then drive around and then maybe go to the yellow book. So why search? Easier than ever. It's on every device that you have in your house. You can speak to Siri and get searches. It is, just very information is right at our fingertips about different products, services, companies, people, places, or whatever else you might be looking for. And not only are they out there, it's easy to compare them. Yeah, they're accessible from multiple devices. I already, kind of mentioned that. You have your smartphone, you have your tablet, you have your desktops, you have TVs that have search built in, and it has become the predominant way that people look for information. Search the products or businesses. Here's an interesting statistic from Wall Street. 92% of consumers have more confidence in the information they find online than they do from a sales clerk or any other source. So what this is really saying is that we actually find more truth outside of the salespeople. We don't like to be sold to. We like to think that we were coming up with this on our own, and that's the way that strategic marketing has changed. Is you need to make your customer believe that they chose you, which they will if you give them the right information. But they need to believe that they chose you, you didn't sell them. No one likes to be sold. And the next thing I want to talk about outside of the search is the social aspect. If search has exploded, social has just been completely on fire over the last couple of years. And businesses are starting to figure out the right way to use social and the wrong way to use social. Connecting and sharing is very easy to do on social, both positively and negatively, and we'll get over that in a minute here. All the opinions are highly visible. Again, because of the power of search and because of the power of search on these social networks, you can quickly find information about a particular company or a person. The search engines are definitely paying attention. Google came out with Google Plus because Facebook was so dominant and successful that they had to join the party. They were late in coming to the party, and they already had another program before that, but they've become a predominant player. And not to mention, they are the biggest search engine, owners of YouTube and everything else. So it's just they're paying attention to that. They're trying to figure out how to grab that information and present it to a person searching so it's relevant. The interesting thing about the content about your business, it's not created by you anymore. Even before social started, even if you had a website, you're the one producing the content about your company. You're the one saying how great you are, putting your testimonials on there, talking about your products or services. On the social side, it's completely the opposite. You might be doing some stuff on your own social pages, but that also invites everybody else to do it and also do it on their own pages outside of your control. And things outside of our control sometimes kind of make us uneasy. So we need to pay attention to what's being said about our company. So the consumers are the publishers, and it does have a major, major impact on your business. How big of an impact? According to Google themselves, 70% of customers consult reviews or ratings before purchases. 70%. That is a lot of people out there looking for your product or service or your company name, checking out reviews, comparing products and services before they actually make a decision. So it's having a huge impact on people's buying decisions. Next game changer, mobile. And this might be the biggest game changer, and it's just starting right now. With mobile, we have access to the internet anywhere, 24/7. No matter if you're in the car driving. My wife and I had to go up to Chicago, and we pop open the laptop and connected up to the phone, and we were on the internet, and we were doing business. An 18-hour drive back to Chicago. It's just you have access anywhere. That means that people can also find businesses while they're out and about. And we'll get into a little bit more of this throughout the presentation, but you just need to realize mobile is the biggest game changer. Search and social are huge as well. So all three of these, work together. And people, with the mobile, they can access and get immediate gratification. They don't have to wait till they get home, write it down on a piece of paper, say, "Oh, I want to go look up this." I mean, how many times have you been at a party and somebody mentioned something and they couldn't think of a name of a movie star or this restaurant or the reviews about this movie, and somebody pulls out their phone, or five people pull out their phone, and they search for it, and within a couple of seconds, we have the answers. Information is right there. We no longer have to remember a lot of this stuff. So on mobile, you must be present. If not, your competitors are going to eat your lunch. It's just they're already there. So if you're not there, you need to be there. According to Google, 1 in 3 mobile searches are now in mobile. This used to be 1 in 7, 1 in 8, 1 in 10. More people are gravitating towards mobile, mostly because they're doing a lot of searches on there as well. Might not be a strictly number of days. You're just doing a lot of searches. So if 1 in 3 people are on mobile in your website, or you're not on mobile, then you're missing out. So right now, to add it all up, it's easier than ever for your consumer to research and compare various products and services, your products and services. So I'm going to take an example here. This is from Travelocity, and you can see how they organize and make it very easy to compare items side by side. You see these sites all over the place with ratings, with side-by-side comparisons. Even if they don't have side-by-side comparisons, easy enough to pop open another browser window and say, I want to compare this product to this product to this product, even if you're an e-commerce store, all the way through the checkout phase to check on taxes and shipping to see who's the cheapest, if that's what the buyer is after. Maybe the buyer is not after the cheapest, but a lot of times that could be, depending on your product level in your industry, that could be one of the driving factors. So you need to know how your consumer is going through, and you need to analyze and monitor that all the way through. So the companies that get it are crushing the companies that don't. They're just there's not a big difference between. I mean, there's a big difference between the companies that are actually doing these things, are on mobile, are paying attention to search, are on social, and paying attention to all three of those. Then the other ones that do not do that. So the big question is, how do you strategically and systematically work with these three big drivers in order to change and make sure that you become on top for your particular industry? Again, you're not trying to be the top, number one in Google for everything. You want to be number one for your particular industry. Your industry might be local based. It might be only in a particular city or a particular town or a particular zip code, or it might be national. You need to understand what your industry is and how are you going to do this. So right now, it means now more than ever, you really need a marketing plan that works. Sometimes in the past, when everything's great, you can throw whatever you want out there as far as marketing. Consumers are ready to buy. They're looking for that. It seems like you almost print money. Well, when I talk to small businesses, what they're basically saying is, listen, I have so much going on right now. There's so much new technology out there. Everything happens so fast. I can't sit around and study all this stuff. So how do you keep up? How do I make decisions about where I should be going with my business? And when they ask me that, I say you need to simplify the challenge and clarify your approach. You need to really understand that. And so what I break it down to is I have 4 key marketing systems, and it's what I call my R4 system. So you must maximize these 4 key marketing systems. And that's the title of this presentation. So I want to kind of go through what we believe are the 4 marketing strategies that you must master. All right, so here is a triangle. We'll start at the bottom here with reputation. I'm going to go into each of these in greater detail, but this is the foundation that we build all of our clients' marketing systems on. So you got reputation on the bottom, then you have reach, then resell, then referral, with that arrow looping back down to reputation. So let's start with reputation. Your online reputation is more important than even your offline reputation is. Why? Because your online reputation can literally grow like wildfire, good or bad. Positive reviews can go viral. Negative reviews could go viral. Word of mouth, kind of hard to tell 3,000 people how good or bad your experience was at a particular restaurant or a particular salon. Social media, you type up 140 characters and hit send, and you might send it out to 10,000 people. Very simple, very easy, and those 10,000 people could retweet it to 10,000 more people. So the reputation, that's why it's the foundational piece. With a bad reputation, just one bad review can completely crush a business. And when we talk to our potential clients, we focus on the reputation, because if they have a terrible reputation, it doesn't matter how much traffic we drive to their site, or how great a website we make them, or how well we do with their social media and their outreach. Because what they're going to come around to, as we saw on a previous slide, 70% of people go out there and they trust the online reviews about that particular company. So they're going to do research. What are they going to find about you? The next one is reach. And we're going to go again into some other specific strategies on these. But reach is basically telling everybody about you, about your business, about your product, about your service. This could be done through search engines, with search engine optimization. It can be through paid, whether it's on Google's paid, which is called Google AdWords, or it could be in Facebook or LinkedIn. It could be just posting out on social media sites, creating a Facebook fan page, creating a website. These are all different ways to reach your target audience. The next level is reselling. So reselling is making sure that you actually capture the lifetime value of your client, customer, or patient. Do you know what the lifetime value of your client is? If you're signing a 12-month contract for a particular service, if you were saying pest control, what if that person renews? What's the lifetime value? How much more can you upsell, cross-sell, or even downsell that person if you need to? A lot of times we're so worried about people leaving that we just let them leave rather than figuring out why they might want to leave. Maybe it's money. Maybe you can downsell them into a smaller package, or sell them a cheaper product. So I heard a couple days ago from one of my mentors that you make everybody, that should be your number one product. Make them a customer. Then you can worry about the rest. So if they don't want to bite on the biggest package or the biggest product that you have to sell, get them to do something, because it's much easier to resell to current than to go out there and find it. Much easier and much cheaper. And the final one at the top of the pyramid is referrals. Now everybody knows how valuable referrals are. And if we could just grow our business through referrals, which some people have up until now, I think that type of business is dying off more as the internet is exploding, right? I'm not saying it's going to be dead in 5 years or 10 years or even 15 years from now, but it's getting to be a smaller piece because all that information is readily available. So through the positive word of mouth we're getting, putting out there in the marketplace, it's easier than ever to grow your business with that. But it's not the typical way, right? As I mentioned, people are out there on the internet looking for information. So although it's a very important piece and it's up there on the top of our triangle, it's the smallest piece of the triangle. So the idea behind it is keeping it simple and keeping it focused. That if you focus on enhancing your reputation at your business, and then reaching out to your new prospects every single day through social media, through search, through paid, then when you have them as a customer, you resell them, upsell them, cross-sell them, and then you deliver them fantastic customer experience, then you'll get more referrals. And those people become your reputation. In fact, what I found is that just one of these 4 R's can lead to up to a 25% annual growth in just about any business. However, if you maximize and use all 4 of these, you can get 100% or even more, because there really truly is a compounding effect when you see those referrals come back down to your reputation and actually truly start building that reputation. Because what reputation really does is bring you those pre-sold customers. So the businesses that really have the explosive growth are really focusing on 3 or 4 of these areas rather than just 2. So let's go into reputation a little bit more here. It's easier than ever for customers to find feedback. We already mentioned this before, and they're going to make a decision based on who they're going to buy from based on those reviews. We want the 5-star review. We all know what a 5-star restaurant is. We all know what a 5-star hotel is. We want 5-star. 70% of consumers say that feedback they find out is the number 2 way that they make decisions. You know what the number 1 is? What their friends tell them. The referral. Right after referral, number 2 is, what does it say online about them? So even if they get a referral, hey, go check out this plumber, go check out this pest control company, go check out this flower shop. They're going to go online, research that person, and see if they actually truly want to do business with them. 7 in 10 who read reviews share them with family, friends, and colleagues. That's a lot. 7 in 10 people actually, hey, did you hear about this company? Did you hear about that? That's that explosive growth that we want to be able to capitalize on, but they got to be saying the right message for your business. If they're saying negative things, that is not good at all. 74% of consumers choose to do business based on online feedback. So the question is, everyone's talking, but who's talking about you? And more importantly, what are they saying? So there's this book that that satisfied customers tell 3 people, angry customers tell 3,000. There's the old adage says that a satisfied customer will tell 5 to 7, right? And a dissatisfied will tell 15 to 20. But that's not today. With social media, they're going to tell 3 if they're happy and 3,000 if they're angry. So who's out there talking? Customers, prospects, your competitors, even disgruntled employees, ex-spouses, former business partners, and investors. And then this to people that are just permanently aggravated. You're never going to make them happy. So here's a guy on a restaurant review. He has a camera in his hand, driving home from a restaurant, complaining about the service that he had. And you might look at that and say, so what? Big deal. You see down there in the bottom right hand corner, over 35,000 people have seen that video. That's explosive growth. Negatively, of course, but it can also be on the positive side. So you got to make sure that you're getting the positive reviews. So the reviews are at the center of search. Google a little bit back bought Zagat, and they bought them because what does Zagat have? Reviews on consumers and customers. You may have noticed that Google tried to use that Zagat scoring system, the 1 out of 30, 3 out of 30, 15 out of 30. They've since gone back to the star rating, but nonetheless, they did buy Zagat for reviews. And if the biggest online person buys reviews or buys a company that has a ton of reviews, that's where the direction that they believe things are going. So where should you focus your marketing at the time? Well, 90% of online customers or consumers trust recommendations from people they know. 70% distrust them from online. So there's the 1 and the 2. And look at that bottom one, 14% trust advertising. So a lot of times we focus on advertising because we believe that's what people want. But the studies show that it's not. It's about what people say, that's the referral, and what they find online, that's your reputation. So here's a little bit more showing the reviews are at the center of search. So I pulled in just roofing companies here, and you'll notice, look at the star ratings underneath all of those. Up at the top, you have the ones from Yelp, obviously one of the biggest review places online next to Google. But even underneath in the map pack where it says A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all those, look at the ones that have star ratings. So if you were looking at this and this was one of your search results, you might skip over to Yelp one, go down to the map one. You're probably going to look at number 1 and number 2 with a 4.9 and a 4.4. You might skip over number 3. There's only 3 Google reviews with no star rating. Doesn't catch your eye. And then you see a 4.7, and then down towards the bottom you see a 4. And that might be the last person you call, right? A 4 rating. Okay, the other ones are at over 4. So not necessarily because the top one has 4.9, that's why they're there. There's all sorts of reasons why they're there using Google's algorithm. They could have a 3-star rating and be there. But the important on this slide is to understand that your review is going to be displayed whether you're looking at it or not. And furthermore, you can see how many reviews. 7 reviews for the first one, 16 Google reviews. And this is only on Google. This isn't actually on Yelp and all those other ones. Here's another example. This is called the carousel. When you search different restaurants and hotels and entertainment, Google displays a little bit differently. But notice, they put the star rating right up there, right underneath the picture. So what's your goal? Your goal needs to be a 5-star reputation. Anything less than a 5-star? No, I say anything less, it's kind of mathematically impossible to get a 5-star with one bad review, but you need to be in that 4+ reputation, right? And you need to do it in a very systematic way. If you just rely on other people, going back to the other slide, only a couple people are actually going to review you in a positive manner. Majority of the people put out bad reviews. So you need to be proactively looking for those good reviews. So you need to contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way. The truth of the matter is you cannot control what people are saying about you. You can't get them removed from Yelp. You can't get them removed from Google. You can't tell them what to say. You can't remove them when they're bad. You just can't do that. But what you need to do and what you can control is to make sure that you have a positive ratio. The ratio of positive reviews to negative ones is definitely in your favor. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is by proactively going out there and getting those positive reviews. Couple of key things that you need to do in order to do this. You need to take ownership of all the profiles in all the key directories and networks that you have. Google Plus might be the most important. It's owned by Google, right? These already exist out there. Your company most likely already has a directory listing in every major directory, and people can go put reviews on them. You need to go out there, you need to take ownership, you need to update them, and you need to actively monitor them for these reviews. So if you start seeing negative reviews, either you can respond to them in a graceful manner, or you can make sure you get a lot more positive ones out there. So these are just a couple of them: Yelp, TripAdvisor, obviously the popular LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, the social profiles. But there are literally thousands of other directories. There's about 100 that you really need to focus on. Between 50 and 100 are the most popular ones. So go out there, research those. I do have some white papers on my website about which directories you should be going to. You need to publish your own story. You must be proactive, make your own news, post on subjects that will help your clients and prospects. Not selling, on these social media sites and in these directories. But you need to put the information, the positive information out there. Again, you're not the only publisher that's talking about your company anymore. Now these other consumers are actually doing it. Add the social media sharing buttons to all the content that you publish out on your website. Let people share it. Encourage them to share it. You can make educational videos and posts. Here's a statistic here that any video is 50 times more likely chance of appearing on the first page. That's not quite accurate anymore. Google's changed some algorithms in the past couple months, which, by the way, I read an article yesterday actually that they changed their algorithm about 500 times a year. So they realized that a lot of people were putting out videos. Some of them were informative, some of them were spammy. So they've kind of made some changes. Doesn't mean they're not going to if they get going. This guy here on how to tie a tie has over 7 million views. You get that kind of viewership, you're going to start showing up in the search engines. You need to build a review collection system. Again, you cannot just hope that the positive reviews are going to come out there. You need to actively, proactively, and very methodically go and get those. Reviews on a site can boost conversions by up to 20%, according to some studies. So just posting them even on your own site, even though people know that they might not be completely true, is very good. Out on social media sites, which are all the third-party sites, much more positive impact. So what are the big takeaways in the reputation section? It's the foundation of an effective marketing plan. It needs to be your focus, especially if you had a bad reputation or no reputation. It needs to be your focus before you go spend a lot of money on social media or search engine or paid. You need to build that reputation up, because people are looking for that. And it's no longer good enough just to do good work, right? A 3, 3.5 star, that's not good enough. Your competitors might be at 5, 4.8, 4.9. So again, you must proactively develop and then market that reputation. And that's where we're going to go into next, is in the reach section. What do you do once you have that 5-star reputation? What's the next step? And the next step is you need to market that reputation. You have this great, 10, 20, 30, 50 people saying great things about you. If it's just sitting out there, nobody ever looks at it, who cares? You need to get out there, toot your own horn, and let people know. So here's just a couple examples of reach. The first one is search. Google is the biggest search engine, 60 to 80% I've seen market share. Over 114 billion searches a month are happening on Google. AdWords, which is pay-per-click, over 1 million advertisers, and they spent almost $37 billion in 2013. So pay-per-click is another way you can reach people. YouTube, again, we already mentioned about the videos, posting very informative videos, nearly 14 billion videos. Facebook, on the social side of things, over 1 billion users. One of the most active social networks, one of the most active websites next to google.com for searching out there. And here's Google Plus coming in way pretty late in the game, in my opinion, and they already have over 500 million people. Twitter is probably the strongest growing social media. Businesses and even marketers trying to figure out the best way to actually market, because there's a lot of robots that have entered Twitter to try to do marketing. So you want to make sure you're going to have to grow that base pretty big to make sure the percentage of actual people that are following you are real people. And then you have to obviously have an informative message in less than 140 characters. LinkedIn, I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn, more as of late than before, but it has 225 million users. And I don't remember the statistics right off the top of my head, but the average salary, especially if you're going B2B, business to business, LinkedIn is where you need to be. That's where the business owners are. But the average salary I heard was like 107,000 on LinkedIn compared to like 50,000 on Facebook, right? Everybody's on Facebook. Professionals and business owners are on LinkedIn. So if that's your target market, LinkedIn has a paid advertising. It's a little bit more expensive, but you also can get very targeted with that. And then Pinterest, again, just like Twitter, people are trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. People love pictures. You put pictures out there, tons of them, get links back to your site. But is there a great marketing plan out there? Keep your eye on that. They're starting to talk about advertising as well. But they have more than 70 million users on there already. So just to recap, you got the search, the paid, video, the Facebook, with the social, Google Plus, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest on all the social one. So 72% of adult internet users access social media. And in 2005, not that long ago, only 8% did. That's explosive growth. And it's only going to get bigger. So you need to be there. So the big takeaways on the reach, this portion of the reach anyway, your audience is active online. You saw all those people on all the social media sites. A lot of people just create profiles and never go out there. But other people are very active on there. So if you're not reaching them through search, pay-per-click, display ads, and social media, you can bet your competitors are. You need to make sure you do that. Now I want to focus on reach with the mobile. I talked about as that one of the 3 game changers. That the mobile searches have actually quadrupled. Now they're 1 in 3. So 1 in 3 people are actually searching on their mobile device. And the average user spends 2 hours a day on their mobile phone. That might be a little light compared, some people spend more than that. And 66% of people actually said they admit to sleeping with their phones. The first thing that they do before the feet even hit the ground is they pop open their smartphone, check their email, get on Facebook, see who's been talking all night. We are connected literally at the hip with our smartphones. So that's on the mobile side. 1 in 2 searches on a mobile device are actually local intent, which is huge for business owners. Huge for us local business owners. That 1 in 2 people out of the 50 million searches that might be happening on a mobile device, 1 in 2 of those have local intent. That means they're out there. They're looking for the closest restaurant, the closest bakery. They got locked out. They're looking for a locksmith. All of those different types. If your business, if you can think of your business, would people ever search for me on a mobile device? You need to be on mobile. And I would argue you need to be on mobile no matter what, so they can find you when people are giving them referrals. And after looking up a business, check out these results. 61% result in a phone call. They look you up on mobile. They're not, I mean, those screens are small. They're not out there searching and researching and trying to figure out, how to be a plumber. They're looking for a plumber, right? And 59% resulted in a visit. That's a huge conversion. That's bigger conversion than you can get on just about anything. Direct mail, direct calls, search engine paid. When somebody finally hits your site, that's a big conversion there. So 6 in 10 prospects will leave your site if it's not mobile friendly. So now we're going to kind of get into the good and the bad of mobile websites, and if you need to really have that, right? But if 6 in 10 people through a search, Google displays your results, and your site is not mobile friendly, they leave. And based on this information, Google last year came out and said, if you do not have a mobile site or mobile responsive site, they want to start pushing you down in the search results because of this. 6 in 10 of their customers, right? So, Google's customers are the searcher. 6 in 10 of their customers are unhappy with the quality of the search results, and they're leaving because they can't see the screen. Oops. 52% of users say that a bad mobile experience, and then they're going to less likely to engage with that business. So if they pop open your website, can't really see it, you may have lost them as a customer forever. They may never come back. That's a big number again. So your goal is to make it as easy as possible. We've all seen websites like this on our phone. Can anybody read that besides the title? No, you can't. So we want to avoid the confusion. So the one on the left would be a standard website on a mobile device. But you want to provide clarity. The one on the right would be a mobile responsive website, or just a mobile site. There's two big camps, and I'll do a whole thing on mobile at some point. But you have mobile responsive, and then you have mobile websites. You need to do one or the other. At iMarketing Leader, we focus on doing the mobile responsive from the ground up. But if you have a humongous website, thousands of pages, you need to redirect those customers that are coming to your website via mobile for what they're looking for. Your phone number, directions, service, hours. But you need to do that. You need to make sure that that's there. So the big takeaways here are consumers don't want to be disconnected from their phones, so let's not let them. And they're addicted. This addiction that they have, it gives you a chance to stay with them wherever they go. It's no longer they have to go sit in front of the computer and they have 2 hours that you have to basically provide information. You have 24/7 that you can connect with these. So the huge opportunity and reach is don't let them step out of their daily routine. Their daily routine is before they hit the floor, they check their emails or their text messages, right? Or Facebook. Let's advertise, connect with them where they already are. So your website must be mobile capable. Let's move on to the third point of the R4 selling system, marketing system, and it's resell. This is the upselling, cross-selling, downselling if need to, and really leveraging the lifetime value of that customer, client, or patient. Far too many businesses get a client or a customer, and then they're out there looking for the next one. Meanwhile, that person has already opened up their wallet, gave you their credit card or money. They're ready, right? They're willing and able, especially if you provide them great customer service and they've been a customer for a long time. You could probably sell them something else. Now make sure it's of high quality. So I want to talk about reselling via mobile because we've been talking about mobile a lot. There's thousands of ways to resell, but I want to talk about on mobile here in this presentation. 80% of Americans have mobile phones, right? And 73% says it's their number one technology device. That's over desktop, laptop, and 25% of all households have ditched their landlines. So how do you get a hold of them? Here's an interesting stat that I found. 3,853 text messages sent and received per day is on the average from an 18 to 24-year-old per day. That is a lot of text messages. SMS is capable of reaching 91% now of the US population because everybody has smartphones. And even if you have, quote unquote, a dumb phone, you can still do text messaging on it, right? So why use SMS or text messaging? Instant deliverability. It's very flexible, right? Every phone can receive text messages now, basically. Instant opt-in and opt-out. Text this number, text this code to this number that opts them into your list. You can then market to them, send out coupons and other things. Text stop if you want to stop, right? There's no calling anybody to say, remove me from this list. So people are, especially the younger generation, are very easy giving people their text messages because they know they can opt out very easily. A very high open and conversion rate, very high, and low effort to create. Very short messages. You don't have to complex HTML messages and beautiful graphics. Get straight to the point. I'm a straight to the point guy. I don't like a lot of fluff. You can tell them this is exactly what I'm sending you. Here's 10% off your next order. To say, hey, how's it going? And how are the kids and everything? And oh, by the way, here's 10%. That's great for email marketing, right? You need to build that relationship. You can't do that in text messaging or even in Twitter for that matter. 97% of text messages are actually opened. Email is like 50%, right? 95 to 98% of text messages are read within minutes of receipt. It's not like email where we get to it throughout the day, right? So you could do very quick flash type sales, especially if you're a restaurant. Hey, it's very slow on a Tuesday. Push out a text message to all of everybody who's opted in, and you might fill your restaurant. And 30% of email addresses actually change on a yearly basis, but people keep their cell phones for life. If you can build that text messaging list, you can have that person's information for life until they opt out, obviously. If they opt out, they're not your ideal client anyway. Here are a couple other examples of what you can do as far as that resell. Appointment reminders. You can reduce no-shows by 50%. You can save a ton of money and put that back into your business or into your pocket just by sending people a simple, hey, did you remember you have a chiropractor appointment today? You can use coupons, mobile coupons. They're 10 times more likely to be used. Well, if people are going to use coupons, then they're probably going to go to those stores, right? So if they're 10 times more likely to be used, then maybe that person is 10 times more likely to come to your restaurant or your place of business over the other ones. Geo-targeting. You can automatically send a text coupon when people are within the vicinity of your brick and mortar store. Hey, come check us out. They don't know that you're using, geo-targeting. Oh my gosh, how'd they know? Right? It's magic. They knew that I was looking for that. So the big takeaways here: text messaging is the most popular form of communication among consumers. You're almost guaranteed to get your message to somebody. So you really need to start building your list today. The last point here I want to talk about is referrals. So getting happy customers to refer you business. According to the New York Times, 65% of new business comes from referrals. That's a huge amount right now. 41% of businesses actually count on that for over 80% of their sales. You're probably one of them. But as I mentioned before, the tides might be shifting a little bit on that. Still a major player in your business, but you got to make sure we build up all these other pieces as well. So how can you proactively drive your referrals? You need to understand that a good customer service doesn't always actually equate to good referrals, right? Hope is not a strategy. 83% of satisfied customers are willing to refer a product or service, but only 29% do. This goes back to reviews as well, right? They'll be willing to do this, but that's a little bit of work. I got to go look up the company, and then I got to go find them, and you got to make things easy. So, answer to that you must leverage a referral system. You can't leave it up to that 29%. You want to get that 83% who already say that they'll do that. So by word of mouth referrals is chance, but a referral system, it could be predictable, constant, and repeatable, right? Every time that you have a customer that's happy, ask them for a referral, but have a system that actually collects those referrals. So a referral system is a methodical process that actually captures those prospects with the association of who they actually are with. You want to be able to do that. So very simply, how do you generate repeatable system? You got to ask for them. 83% said they will. 29% said they do. 91% of clients said they would give a referral, but have never even been asked. That's crazy. That these guys are out there saying, "I love this company. I've been using them for years, or I've been buying food over here. I've been going to this restaurant." No one's ever asked me for a referral. So requesting referrals, it's pretty straightforward. You have to incorporate a message into some sort of referral system, a postcard, social media, on your website. It's asking for them, right? People say if you ask, you're going to get it. So here's a quick little example. You probably can't read this from a piece of mail from the Dollar Shave Club. It says, "Hey Turkey, give thanks to yourself with some free months. Refer some friends to the Dollar Shave Club and get a free month of Dollar Shave Club razors for every friend that you sign up." So very simple. Once you're in the Dollar Shave Club, you get a postcard like this. You refer a couple people, and you get free products. Now you got a couple referrals were sent out, and then you give someone something for free. Now here's another one. You can incorporate them into contests. Who could refer me the most business wins whatever, right? However big you want to make it. How much is that? How much is a referral worth to you? Again, back to that lifetime value of the client. So they can be spread virally. So the big takeaways: referrals are great, but it's hard to depend on the unpredictable. So you need to make them predictable. You need to build and design a repeatable system that will capture the referrals when your customers are thrilled at the time of service, right? You can't go to them 2, 3, 4 months later. They forgot about you. They're on to the next thing. And then you have to make it easy for them to share. Nobody wants to, do a lot of extra work here. So recapping our R4 marketing system, which we believe is the foundation that if you maximize and optimize these 4 areas, you will have explosive growth in your business. At the bottom is the reputation. It's all about your reputation, right? And it has to be a positive one. Next is the reach. Once you have that great 5-star reputation, you got to spread the word, get it out there. Then you need to resell, capture those customers that you already have. Go back into your database and look at who's been a customer or a client of yours, and what can you do to get them to be more engaged, to get them to buy something else, to get them to buy something that might not even be yours, maybe a JV partnership, right? Something that's great, high quality. And then the referral, build that system to ask for those referrals and make it super easy for them to do it. Scan this postcard and then send it out to your referral system. Reply back to this email with your referral. I have to make that very easy. So are you doing everything that you can to grow your business? Most of us, like I mentioned, are not. Again, the time constraints, the awareness constraints, the expertise constraints, the budget constraints. We all have these as small businesses. So what's the problem with that? My business is growing, and I got referrals, and it's 80% of my business. Is because the gap between those who get it and those who don't is widening. I talk to my prospects and clients about this a lot. You might look and say, "Oh, I'm on number 2 ranking," or "I'm number 3 here." We don't know how big that gap is. You may never be able to get on the first page, right? Maybe those 10 that are on the first page are so far ahead of you already because they've got it. They got this 5 years ago. Still not too late to get in the game, but you got to start now. So typically when I'm talking to business owners, 90% realize that they aren't growing like they should, but only 50% actually realize that they actually need to make a change. And out of that 50%, only about 20% realize that being strategic about their marketing is the big difference. So to wrap things up, if you're part of that 20%, if you really understand that it needs to be strategic, if you're committed to creating a maximum growth at your business, I'd really like to get to know you better and get to know your business better. So reach out to us, social media, email, through our website, give us a call. That's all I have. I'm going to look down here for any questions. We've got about 7 or 8 minutes left. I'm going to answer some questions, see if we have any, and then we'll kind of move on from there. Let me bring up my questions box while you guys are typing in some questions. So, question here: can you encourage people to give reviews with coupons or special offers? Great question. No, that's actually against terms of service. You can't bribe somebody to give you a review. However, you could bribe somebody to give you feedback and then maybe also incorporate a review aspect of that. Oh, by the way, thanks for the great feedback. Would you mind giving us a review? Technically, you're paying for or bribing them or bartering with them for the feedback. How was our service today? Who is your, beautician? And then, oh, by the way, can you review us out on Google? Some people will take the time to do that. It's better than not doing anything. So, great question. No, you can't do that, but a lot of people do. Just don't get caught if you're doing it. Let's see, next one. Is there a way to find out if your competition is posting bad reviews? And if so, can you get them removed? All the review sites have their own algorithms to try to determine this because, first of all, they don't want your competitors doing it, and they don't want you as the business owner going out there and posting fake reviews. So they have Yelp and Google are the two biggest review sites, and they have very complex algorithms. So again, it's a computer program doing it. So does it allow some fake ones to get put in? Yeah. And it also deletes some real ones. Yep. It's a computer algorithm. It's pretty good for the most part. A lot of people are very discouraged with Yelp for what they've been doing in recent. But Google is going to be out there. They're going to try to do the right thing because they know that's going to bring people to their search side. You could try reporting them to Google. Mark them as spam every once in a while. On some of the sites, you'll see, if you see a comment, you can say report as spam. Click that. You may or may not be able to get it off. But the biggest takeaway is don't focus so much on the bad reviews. Put so many good reviews out there. Have all your customers. Most of us have 10, 20, 30 customers or clients, unless you're a really small shop on a high end. You have that many. Go ask those people who are very happy with you to go put positive reviews. You put 20 positive reviews, one bad review goes out there. I know when I'm looking at reviews, if I see majority, and big majority, like 70, 80% are in the positive, I have a very positive experience, and I'll go do business with that company because I know there are those naysayers, and they're nothing you can do to make them happy. Next week, the question is, what will I be talking about next week? I'm gonna get that in a moment. I'll show you where to find that. And question here: what's more important nowadays, a Facebook page or a Google Plus page? It's a great question. Right now, today, I would say it's a Facebook page. That's where the majority of people are. Google, again, was pretty late in the game. Google's been changing around a lot of they've combined, and they're still in the process, I think, of combining their Google Plus Local, which used to be called Google Places, and then their Google Plus Business pages. So in the process of combining those. So if you have one of those, if you haven't logged into it lately, you might want to log into it because they were prompting people to say, hey, is all this information correct? Because we're going to combine it. So that goes back to that 50% of searches are for local. That Google Plus Local, that's what actually shows up in the map packs. So Google said, well, really, why do we need to have two places where businesses have to update it? They actually made it a lot more convenient. I would say you need to do both. A Facebook page is if you have a sexy business. And what I mean by sexy business, like a veterinarian where you could post pictures of pets, or a flower shop where you could post pretty things that people are going to comment on and be viral. If you don't have a sexy business, you still need to be on Facebook because that's where somebody might be searching about your business, but don't expect a huge amount of engagement on there. And I'm going to do a whole presentation on social media, but that's a very good question. I would actually do both. Personally, I do for my business because it's more of a B2B. I do more on LinkedIn, but I also have a Facebook page and a Google Plus page that I still frequently update. It's just I don't get a lot of engagement on those because my target market is the business owner. So if your target market is a customer, are they high-end customer or low-end customer? If they're high-end, they might be on LinkedIn, where you might need to connect with them. If they're a lower end, kind of a cheaper product or service, they're most likely on Facebook. The key to Facebook is keep them on Facebook. People do not like to leave Facebook. So we're getting wrapped up here, almost at the top of been here for an hour. I don't see any more questions right now. If you do have any while I'm flipping over the screen here, go ahead and type those in. And if I don't get to them here, like I mentioned at the beginning, I will go ahead and answer these questions and post them underneath the replay. So what I wanted to do is I want to bring up my website here real quick so you can see where you can actually, one of the questions was, what will I be talking about next week? So can everybody see my website here on iMarketing Leader? Let me see here. Okay, now I have it on the right screen. Got two screens here. So on my website, iMarketingLeader.com, you can actually go over underneath training. And if you've made it to the live webinar, you've probably already registered for the training. You don't need to register again. There's, I think, GoToWebinar allows you to be put into 25 of them. So again, this is a weekly training that I'm going to be doing. You don't have to come to every week if the information doesn't go to you. I'm going to try recording all these. I have backup recordings because sometimes GoToWebinar, doesn't really work very well. But underneath the online training, so if you just click on training, you're going to get a list of everything. So last week we talked about branding in your business. If you click on that, you'll get to the video. This is this week here. So every one of them, I put the title of what I'm going to be talking about, and then actually the scheduled date right now. Assuming nothing comes up major, I'll be here every Tuesday at 12:30 to be on it live, and then the recordings will also be on these pages. So you can kind of go through these. I don't have any descriptions, and then the titles should be pretty self-explanatory. What's going to happen here in a couple weeks is I'm going to start going through the chapters of my book, because that's a very systematic way of setting up a business. So I'm going to go through each chapter by chapter, explain a lot more in more detail on what each of those chapters are about. So you can see, like, it's high school all over again. That's on reputation. So we have a whole presentation on reputation. So you can go out there and you can see those dates. Again, they're subject to change, but I'll shoot out an email to anybody who's obviously registered. If you're listening to this on a recording, I encourage you to go register. Come on live. Ask me questions. It's much more interactive when I can actually listen to people. I don't see any more questions coming in. We are at that 1:30 mark, and I want to be very aware. I know everybody's got to get back to business. I got to get back to business myself. So until next week, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot them over. But I'll be pushing out this replay probably within 24 to 48 hours. And I really appreciate everybody being on, and I look forward to talking with you next week. Thanks.